I heard you had a blast riding on Oahu.
You know that. Was good fun. I rode trails that I always wanted to ride but never did until now.
When you flew in?
I flew in on Friday. Jason picked me up and we went straight to Hawaiian Air Cargo to pick up my bike. I got there at 6 o'clock and they closed at 6 o'clock. I saw all the doors closed and was like fuck. I hope they still open. Lucky they was and I could pick up my bike. After that I assembled it at Jason's storage. I saw his Enduro had another wheel set. That guy just like Keish. He changed parts like he changed underwear. I always tell him if he buy one track the bugger come spec from the factory and you no need change any parts.
Karak. As how them guys. Where you guys had eat that night?
We had end up going Dave and Buster's. Was pretty good. I had one TNT iced tea thing. As like their version of one Long Island iced tea. I had one steak and was good too. Jason guys eat like the girls I date. They only eat fish. They gotta be like Dennis. He said he no eat red meat cause all gotta do is cook the steak longer and there's not red meat anymore.
Holy smokes. Dennis also said cows is not mammals. So how was riding on Saturday?
Was good. Jason had to GPS our way to the trails. No problem cause I had my new iPhone 4. My old phone had broke and I couldn't send text messages. I almost had die when that had happened even though 99% of the stuff I text is nonsense. We met Ron there. Sesams was also there and he had one cool rack on a street bike to transport his MTB. Creep guys wasn't there cause Ron said they is like Keish. They no show up on time. 9 o'clock is 10 o'clock to them. LOL.
I pow. So you guys had ride without them?
You know that. I told Ron we go make a couple runs so I could learn the trails so when creep guys showed up I could pin the trail like as how. Ron was explaining a drop to me at the trailhead and Sesams didn't know what he was talking about. Anything under 10 feet is not a drop to Sesams. Ron was a good trail guide and stopped at every jump and drop and showed me how to hit them. Keisha's idea of being a trail guide is stop when you hear the guy behind you flip over the steering wheel.
Yeah, I know Keisha's one junk trail guide. How were the trails?
Awesome. All the trails I rode on Oahu were awesome but the thing that puts these on top is Kun Shuttle. After 2 runs the whole crew showed up. I was hanging with Ron on all of the runs so I felt good until I asked him how fast he was pushing. He said 50%. He said didn't you see me sitting down most of the time? I was too busy trying to destroy all the berms to pay attention to that. I also posted on FB that when I was riding with a hangover I was having a hard time figuring out which was the front and back brakes. He said no matter cause I would be grabbing both all the way down since I so slow. He ate his words later. LOL.
I heard the top section is flowy and the bottom is super gnarly.
You know that. The top is super fun but I was catching cracks on the bottom cause my suspension is set up to hook. Some of the guys were playing with my bike on the bottom and asked me if it had suspension or if it was a rigid. Even with my suspension setup that stuff the O-ring was all the way to the crown. I am just badass and pin 'em like nobody's business. I must have bottomed it out when I come into the corners so hard and drag bars when I lean 'em over. I was following creep on one run and the bugger was whipping 'em make scared on the jump section. I followed Eric and Ron too. Was cool to see their lines and stuff until they disappeared.
Karak. I heard Ron is a good storyteller.
You know that. That bugger gets so much stories and he tell 'em in such detail that you know he not bullshitting. By the way, my eyeballs was popping out at all the young ass that was walking the street at the bottom of the hill. Had one blonde bitch with her hood open and Ron said I should go help her out. Looked like she had car trouble. At that point I was almost tempted to skip the North Shore Hawk session and try to pick up some blonde ass.
So what you guys did after the ride?
Sesams wanted to go North Shore to hit one huge ladder drop. That wasn't in my plans but I figured what the hell. My specialty is hucking so I figured we go. We had dinner at Rock and Sushi at 6 o'clock so I was afraid that we wouldn't make it on time if we went all the way North Shore. Dinner was more important than hucking the drop.
I heard Jason took the scenic route to the North Shore.
Yeah, We went the long way and felt like it'd take 2 hours to get there. Sesams was calling me up asking me where we was. I was like, "Hey Rack, are we there yet? Are we there yet?"
I also heard that had to XC ride in 2 miles to get to the drop.
Yeah, I was like, should I riding one DH bike, not one XC bike? I was dying trying folk climb with that bike. When we finally got there, everybody was scoping the drop. I just looked at it once and pushed my bike up. Kendall was like, "Oh, you don't waste any time, huh?" I was like, "You know that. The longer you look at 'em, the more scared you going get." The fucking thing was huge. Was about the same height as Red Bull. Kendall told me where to let off the brakes and stuff, so I just sent it cold turkey like nobody's business. The landing was super harsh even for my bike. After I landed it, I was done. I didn't want to do it again. Sesams was sessioning it and Eric hit it good too. Kendall hawked it on his 4-inch travel messenger bike. The bug nuts.
What about Ron?
This is where the payback comes for calling me slow. Ron was looking at it so long that I was thinking, should we going be late for dinner? He would go up and down. Up and down. I told him if he was feeling it, just hit it. If not, don't. You gotta 100% commit to the thing. After all that, he fagged out and didn't hit it. Understandable, cause he doesn't have the balls of the Timberline champ. Some people are just born with it. LOL.
At least he lives there and can go hit it another day.
You know that. I wasn't about to drive all the way there. Ride all the way there and fag out. I was uploading to FB when I was in the air. On the drive back to town, Creep was texting me where we was. We showed up about an hour late to dinner. I had some shots and a combination sushi plate that I downed in like 5 minutes. That tsunami warning cut the night short. Still was good fun to hang out with the whole crew after the ride.
So what you did the next day?
I wasn't going ride, but I figured might as well try ride all the trails I could, so we met Ron and Brett at the bottom. I made 2 runs and called it a day so I could pack and ship out my bike. We spent most of the time riding, taking pics and stuff. Ron was trying to slay one berm and was washing out every time. He said he wasn't used to hitting it so slow. LOL.
Sounds like a fun weekend.
You know that. The most fun you can have with your clothes on. LOL. Thanks to the entire crew for their hospitality. Can't wait to go back.